So hopefully we will, technology willing, we will have a recording of this. So welcome everybody. I'm really pleased to have you here. I'm really excited about this program. I have put years of my experience in life and in setting up and running my own and leading other businesses, and all my formal and informal learning into this program. And I'm totally confident that it will change your approach to business, and it will build a strong foundation for your business success and growth, and that this will change your life. So as I said, I'm pretty excited. And I encourage you now to turn off all distractions. So don't try to multitask. Just give yourself the gift of focusing on your business for the next, it will take about 45 minutes this morning for this webinar. So really just give yourself that gift and try not to multitask. I know some of you have got things going on in the background, but it would be great if you could do that. And I encourage you to take lots of notes and to do this slightly differently than you would if you were in an ordinary class. You don't need to write down what I say, because you can listen again as frequently as you like. What I do suggest you write down falls into three categories. I call them the ABCs. Firstly, you're going to write down an action category. That is anything that when you hear something, I say something, and you think, I'm going to do that, you write that down. That's the A category of note-taking. The second category is your aha moments, or as I call them, your BFOs. That's why they're the B category, your blinding flashes of the obvious. So when you suddenly go, oh my goodness, yeah, I get that. That's something also to write down. And your third category is your questions, things that you need clarified. So that's the C category, things I want further clarification on. These things you can email me, and I'll go over them in the Q&A. And what I have discovered in my years of coaching is that if you have a question, it is very likely that others have the same question. So don't hold back from asking. You will be serving not only yourself, but the whole group by asking your questions. I really encourage you to do that. So today's webinar is quite dense. And what I mean by that is there are a lot of concepts and ideas that some of those of which may be new to you. And so I will be speaking about those, but that's what the Q&A sessions are for. If you don't get the concepts that I'm talking about, please ask for clarification. And as I said, you'll be serving the others as well as yourself. So today we're looking at three questions, and answering these three questions truthfully and honestly is the most solid foundation for building your business. The questions are, what do I care about in the world, that is? What big things do I care about? What do I want personally? And why am I in the business I am in? And by answering the first two, you will get some clarity about the third one. These three questions are the things that cause you to shine in the world, cause you to light up and to be a light and a beacon for your ideal customers and your ideal clients, your really, really profitable ones. So they're critical questions to answer. They're the foundation for what you do. They're the foundation for building all your systems and structures in your business and all your marketing material. Without clarity on these three things, and without keeping them uppermost in our minds, we seesaw. We bounce backwards and forwards from different things. Success does not build on success. One success doesn't follow another success, because we are pulled in multiple directions. We're at the whim of the latest marketing trend or tactic or possible client over here or possible client over there, which leads us to be doing things like customizing all the time, reworking, etc., etc. And we don't stay on purpose. We get distracted by what others want, and we're distracted by our failures rather than being attracted by and attractive to our successes. So we become focused on the things that don't immediately work. Okay, so What do I care about? There are two ways which we can answer the question, what do I care about? Because what you care about comes from two sources. It comes from the world that you want to live in, your aspirational world, if you like, and your experience of the world to date. And I'll spend a little bit of time right now and talk you through some of those things. Okay, Tracy, good to have you here. Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you've arrived. So, the world we want to live in. In my own life, and for those of you who are a little bit new to my teaching style, I use a lot of examples from my own life and my own experience and my work with business owners, because that's what's taught me a lot of what I know. So the world we want to live in, I've discovered that there are a few things that are pretty commonly shared by most people. They are ideas about what would be great to have, about a world that would be joyful, for instance, fun, healthy, prosperous, abundant. To know we're helping make the world a better place for everyone, taking care of the animals or the planet or the people on the planet in some very special way that is aligned with your skills and your expertise and what you bring to it. Yeah. So those things are pretty commonly shared. And a little wee proviso here, because of who I am and my values, I attract people who share similar values, similar aspirational values. So this is in no way a scientific test. Just want to make that quite clear. But the important point here is this next one. What we care about is very often directly related to our experience of life so far. Yeah? So say you desire to live in a world, a joyful world, and your experience is that is not the case. At some stage in your life, your world wasn't joyful. And quite possibly your perception that this is not the case for many people. Again, I use an example from myself. You've probably heard me say, or you may have heard me say, that I have had a truly wonderful life. I have only ever worked in jobs that I did not enjoy for less than 150 days in total, and that's in over 45 years of working. So my work has been rewarding and satisfying. In fact, I could say it has fed me emotionally and spiritually as well as financially. And in my passion for creating fulfilling work for everyone, that's what fuels my coaching. That's my big why, my purpose. It's the problem in the world that I really would love to solve and help others like you bring fulfillment and satisfaction to your daily lives. So the big problem that touches your heart is usually directly connected to your idea of the world you want to live in. Yeah, and that is a photograph of me in 1985 on the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean, with the children of some of my staff members when I was invited back to their homes. So I care about lots of other things, like creating a just and sustainable human presence on our planet without violence and war. And early on I had a vague desire that, to do good in the world and make it a better place. That fueled my early life. That's why I went to law school, because I thought that lawyers made the laws and that was the way to make the world a better place. I soon found out that lawyers were mostly there because they wanted to make a lot of money. So I wasn't comfortable there and I quit. It has taken years of refinement to get to a more specific aspiration, something tangible that I can create that's aligned with my beliefs and values and my desire to make the world a better place. Yeah. But this, and I want to say also that what I'm able to do now is provide a shortcut for you. You don't have to take years and years and years to get to this place. That's what this program is for you, precisely a shortcut to get really clear. But it doesn't just apply to service businesses. Don't discount the idea if you sell a product. I'm not talking about retail chain stores, they're a different kettle of fish, but I just want to use the art dealership I started in 2007 as an example of how this works if you sell something like a product. I went into that business because I I'm a creative person, I was married to an artist, and I saw how badly artists were treated by most retail art dealers. The payments held back for months with outrageous commission fees on top of paying for floor space and marketing costs, etc. What I wanted was artists to be honoured and given the respect they deserve by being paid in a timely way, and not, on charging outrageous marketing costs as on top of floor space, etc. So that fueled that art dealership, and was one of the reasons why within a couple of years we had 78 artists on our books, from none to 78, or from 10. We started with 10. So for instance, if you sell maternity pillows, it's because you care. You see a problem in how we treat our expectant mothers. And this is one way that you can give them something they need that will be beneficial and help solve that problem that you perceive. Now, we've got some people, on the call today who sell home loans. And your big why, this course will help you uncover why selling those home loans is important to you. When you know that, you'll be able to connect powerfully and meaningfully with your ideal customer. Now, knowing our big why is really, really important, because we are emotional beings. We buy on emotion and then we justify our decisions. This is a biological reality and our survival depends on it. I encourage you not to take just my word about this. On the screen now are links to 2 19-minute TED Talks by a world-renowned specialist in this area, Simon Sinek. And he explains much more clearly than I can the biological reason why knowing your why is the foundation of all great marketing. So I'll send you these links in an email, and if you get a chance to watch these 2 videos, I do encourage you to do it if you haven't seen them already. Essentially, what he says is we buy from people we trust. So how do you establish trust in your prospects? Trust comes from common values and beliefs. We are more willing and confident to take a risk, to follow someone, or do what they say if we believe they believe what we believe and they want similar things to what we want. So establishing that early on is really critical in your connection process. Read sales process in there, that's your connection process. Your ideal customer, your most profitable and ideal customer, want to live in a world similar to the one you want to live in. And when they understand that you want that as well as them, they'll be on board faster and sooner and more profitably than they ever were before. So in the online program, you will find worksheet 6, which walks you through some questions to help you get clear on what do I care about. Once you've answered the questions in worksheet 6, I recommend you write your life story in 3 to 5 paragraphs that sums up what you care about and how that connects with your worldview and your experiences in life. Now, this isn't an exercise in the online program, but I do recommend that you do it. It's very powerful, pulling it all together in just 3 to 5 short paragraphs. It's just for you. You don't have to share it with anyone. So you can be entirely truthful and honest. And the more honest you can be with yourself, the more powerful the process. Yeah. So the more honest you can be throughout this process, the more powerful it will be for you. Okay. So this is also important to your team. We want to work with people we like, we want to work with people we trust, and who are working towards a world we want to live in. So take a moment right now. This is an exercise I want you to do right now on the webinar with me. Take a moment, think about work you've done in the past before you had your own business, and jot down in a column a list of jobs you've had. Now, it might be only 1 or 2 jobs you've had, but if you can, think of 3 to 5 jobs you had, and just jot them down, just so that you can recognize what they are. And when you've done that, and I'm going to give you a minute to do it, okay, so if you've got somewhere between 3 and 5 jobs that you had, next to each one on the same line, just give it a score from 1 to 10, 10 being high, of how motivated you felt in that job, how inspired you felt, and how much you contributed to that business, by working in meetings, suggesting ideas, or contributed in other ways. I'm not saying you just did your job, how much you contributed. So give each one of those a score of 1 to 10. How motivated you felt, how inspired, and how much you actually contributed to that job. Just checking in here to see whether we've got any questions, but we haven't, so good, all good, okay. So now what I want you to do is ask yourself firstly, did you know the big why of this business? Did you know what was the purpose of the business other than making a profit? Yeah, did you understand what was motivating the owner of the business, or if it was a corporation, what was its purpose? Why did they build the business in the way they built it? And if you did, I want, if you did or you did not, or you somewhat did it. So put against each job you had a yes, I did know why, the big why of this business, the purpose of this business, or no, I didn't know the purpose of this business, or maybe I did, maybe I didn't, against each job. So again, I'm just going to give you a minute to do this. And I'd love you now to just look and see if there's a correlation between the score you gave and your yes, no, or somewhat answer. Yeah? I'd just like you to see whether there is a correlation, because in my experience, there's a strong correlation between how connected we are, how motivated and inspired we are in a job, and whether we understand what the purpose of that business was. So just observe whether there was a correlation or not. In my years of building teams, sharing a common big why has been the cause not only of motivation but also of commitment, focus, going beyond expectations, and of fun, fulfillment and satisfaction. And I'm a particularly values-driven person. Yeah, so not everyone is able to express as clearly their values or been as willing as I have to honour them, and there's no judgment implied here at all. I'm not saying I am not saying I'm better than others. Please don't read that into this at all. I am using it to demonstrate the importance of why of the why in building a team of people who will hang with you through the lean times as well as the good times. For example, I became a business coach because at the time the opportunity appeared in my life, I was clear that I loved helping people to be the best they could be. And I had spent most of my life doing that. And I saw a massive opportunity to do that in the business setting by training as a business coach. So I joined Results in Business because founder Kevin Dawkins is also inspired and motivated by this intention, this aspiration. However, the leadership within Results in Business changed after a couple of years, and I saw that the new leaders were driven simply by desire to make a lot of money. Now, I am not against making money, even lots of it, but it is not my primary driver. So this was no longer a fit for me, and I quit RIB and went out on my own. It's been a bit tricky doing it without the backing of the larger organisation behind me, and I've had to learn a lot. But I personally believe I am more successful because I am living my values. I may not have earned as much as I might have if I'd stayed, who's to know, but I did not sell out on my values, and that is one of my definitions of success. The important thing to note is that before I quit, I had found it increasingly difficult to do what I was being asked to do in the way that I was being asked to do it. Remember I said why is important to your systems and your structures as well as to your ideal clients? This is an example of how it plays out. The type of business I was being asked to engage with was increasingly not aligned with my big why of creating fulfillment and satisfaction in the workplace. So in my experience, when alignment goes out the window, so does motivation. When the internal motivation that comes from purpose is missing, we are left in should and have to and other what I call stick drivers, inherently unfulfilling and dissatisfying. We're driven by some kind of external motivator rather than an internal motivator. I'm just showing you this picture of me happily playing on the island of St. Lucia in the Caribbean. Sorry if you've seen this one before, but I'm showing it again because I just want to talk about the fact that we don't have to be the owners to inspire people. In the Caribbean, I was working for Moorings Yacht Charters. They're the biggest yacht charter operation in the world. I was responsible for the operation and maintenance of 120 charter yachts. Yep, I had 120 charter yachts on the dock. And my staff were the local people for whom English was a second language. I had to earn their trust, and I've got some delightful stories about how I did that. But essentially, by helping them understand that the world I was interested in creating was not a world of just doing what they were told, which they had previously mostly experienced. Yeah. Rather, it was a world where they enjoyed their work, they were fulfilled and satisfied and felt good at the end of the day. Now, I created that sense of satisfaction by sharing with them the importance of their jobs. The role cleanliness of the yacht, for example, for the cleaners played in a successful yacht charter. No one had really helped them understand that, and it was not natural to them. They lived in not quite grass huts, but in really, really shanty huts in the bush, in the forest. And so by helping them understand the role of cleanliness, how it prevented the spread of illness, those sorts of things, they came on board with a why. Or, for instance, for the engineers, how ensuring that the engine did not fail ensured the safety of the charterers. And when they really got that I cared about them in their work, they invited me back to their villages to meet their families. And because I had their trust, they delivered extraordinary levels of service for me specifically. That hadn't been the case previously. And that was one of the reasons why I was able to grow the fully crewed yacht section from 5 yachts to 15 yachts in just 18 months. Yeah. But let me just use another example. This is an example of if you're a bus driver, for instance. If you're a bus driver and you have a bus load of 40 or 50 teenage kids and you have to get them to school every morning. Yeah, they're noisy, they're somewhat obnoxious, they seem to you to be rude. They're just, if you think that your job is just to drive that bus along the same route every day with this bus load of noisy, obnoxious kids, it's not very satisfying. But if you understood that your job was just part of a bigger system in which we were educating our children to be as good as they could be in the world, to grow into the magnificent young people that as much as possible were able to do. If you understood that your part in that was to get them safely and happily to school every day and then home again at the end of the day, it's a different job. It's a completely different job. So you see, this understanding why and purpose can be applied, I believe, in any situation. And for our teams, for the people we get to work with us, we follow leaders because they inspire us. And those who start with the big why and share their why, they have the ability to inspire us. Just going to check and see if anybody's put their hand up or got any major questions. No hands up. Good. Okay, and no questions. All right, moving right along. I did say that I will be using lots of examples, so from my own life and my own experience, because they're powerful. So building a small or even a micro business is hard. I'll say that differently. Building a small, get rid of that thought, it's not hard, but it does take dedication and it does take focus. And in order to build a business that delivers what we want, we must know what that is to start off with. So here are 3 questions that you need to know. Yeah, I call them your personal end game. Answering these questions is the foundation to knowing what structures and systems you must build to get what you want. Example. Last year I realized that I was nearly 60. I am now 60. And I didn't want to keep working 12 months of the year. I have a few big challenges I want to attempt, and in order to do that, I need to be working only about 8 months of the year. This realization, which is the question 2, the answer to my question, my answer to question 2 there on your screen, was the cause of restructuring my business so that I could deliver my coaching packages like this one, freeing up some of my time for my personal goals. It's taken dedication, focus, and hours of new learning to create a different business model, but I'm getting there and I'm really enjoying it because it's helping me reach more people like yourselves who I want to help build strong, resilient businesses in our communities. So this exercise is, I'm going to add it into your package, your online package. It's not there. I realized it wasn't there when I was doing my practice this morning. I'm going to add it in so that you get those 3 questions in the package. What do I want to earn? What else do I want to do with my time? And how many days or weeks of the year am I willing to work in order to earn what I want to earn? These 3 questions are very, very powerful, and they shape the structures and systems that you need to have in your business. Okay, so you've heard me say I'm a sailor, and you can't get to where you want to go if you don't know where that is. Yeah, if you don't know where you're starting from, any direction will do. So that's what we learn in navigation. And yes, that's moorings 50, sailing off Tortola in the British Virgin Islands, and that's me just about to head down the companionway. Probably I was the skipper on that charter. So where you're starting from is about 3 things: your vision, belief, what you believe, and current reality, what resources you've got available. So the first thing is your vision. How clear are you on your vision? You're out there, big, hairy, audacious vision for your life, yeah? And your immediate, more achievable goals that are steps to your really big, hairy, out there, audacious vision for your life. You need both. I'll talk about that bit more in a minute. Belief. Do you actually believe you can achieve your vision? If you've got a big, out there, audacious vision for your business, for your life, and you don't believe you can achieve your vision, it's unlikely that you'll get there. So what do you believe? So knowing what you do believe is really important. So I want to make a distinction here. We have 2 types of beliefs. We have to believe in our dreams, and I'm going to give you, there's a paradox about that, about dreaming big. So this is how it goes. If you limit yourself or scale back your real dream because you think it needs to be smaller or more realistic, it loses its oomph, its vigor, its juice, its fuel. Translation: you won't feel enough of the fiery motivation you absolutely need, because right from the start you'll only be moderately excited, about the journey ahead. If you keep it real and dream safely, moderately, sparingly, or whatever other terminology you muster up to rationalize playing it small, you'll miss out on how good it feels to let your heart take flight and to savor the almost overwhelmingly delight that fills you as you hold your grandest, most inspiring vision, simultaneously igniting excitement and that, oh my gosh, can I really do it, anticipation energy coursing through your veins, helping you to see that, yes, it really is possible. If you don't dream big, what you'll find instead, and maybe you have already found, is that you'll only be somewhat excited and therefore only somewhat inspired to take action. And somewhat, frankly, just isn't enough. Instead, it's a recipe for predestined burnout long before you've come close to seeing it through. So dreaming big is really, really important. For example, let's say you dream of an environmental program that would have a massive result, or whatever you dream. But maybe there's a little voice inside you saying, that's too big. So you convince yourself that it might be out of reach for you. Or maybe someone you love and trust told you that your dream is just too lofty and unrealistic, and you believe them. Either way, in the spirit of realism, imagine you decide to set your sights instead on a much smaller goal. And you spend years of your life to achieve this much smaller goal. How does it feel when you achieve the much smaller goal? It really is very dissatisfying. It really is very unfulfilling, because you've achieved this thing, you've spent years getting there, but it's not really, really what you wanted. It's not the thing that absolutely inspires you and excites you, and it's not the big game that you can play in life. So in this module, inside your program, you will see an audio link at the top of the page to listen again to that Paradox of Dreaming Big completely separately. So we sometimes take on board so the second type of belief that I want to talk about now is that we sometimes take on board a concept or a belief about the world or about ourselves. We may believe that we're not good enough, for instance, or worthy enough to have what we want. Or we may believe that the world is an unfriendly place and we have to protect ourselves from it. A belief like this will cause you to oscillate between success and not success. So you have a vision of what you want and you move towards that, but you have this concept, this other belief that pulls you back and says, yeah, but I'm not really good enough to have that. And it does stop you from achieving, building success on success that I talked about earlier. So what is important is to become aware of a belief like this, if we have one, and then to decide what we want and to go ahead taking action towards what we want, despite and in spite of the belief. Now, I'll discuss this more in the Q&A on Tuesday if you ask me questions about it, so that you can get really, really clear about this. But we have to have our vision, a big, hairy, audacious vision, and then our smaller step goals on the way to the big vision, but then to know if there's something else, some other concept or belief that might be stopping us and making us oscillate between the two things. The third thing we need is, what is our current reality? Yes? So the third thing in knowing where we are is, what's going on right now in our lives? What resources have we got? What resources have we not got? Or possibly what resources have we got that we're not making the very best use of to help us get what we want to get in life? So we need to understand those three things. Now, a note here about what we want. What we want sits somewhere on a continuum often, or a spectrum, from vague ideas out in the distant future to immediate gratifications. Think of it like a picture or a camera lens, if you like. We need to find the balance between the mountain view and the close-up, between vague hopes and longings, the mountain view, and appetites, instincts, and impulses. There's no power in a vague dream about what would be nice. There's nothing specific to, anchor ourselves to. Specificity is a key to getting what we want. These are the things that we will do someday, but someday never arrives. These vague hopes and longings, they actually never arrive. So, at the other end, you're fixated on short-term gratification, and you find it nearly impossible to build a business because it simply doesn't happen overnight. So you're trying to, deal with this immediate things, and that leads to a lot of frustration because you're operating tactically and not strategically, and it's not powerful in terms of going where we want to go. So the frame we need is the medium frame, the frame in which we can describe precisely what we want in enough detail that we can see it and measure progress towards it, but not get lost in endless minutiae or distractions that appear to be the quick fix solutions. So appetites, instincts, and impulses read quick fix solutions. Aspirations and values are the building block we need for a powerful vision. Now, the way to change the frame, an easy way to change the frame that you might be looking at your life from or your business from, is to change the time frame. Vague hopes and longings are in the someday distant future. Appetites, instincts, and impulses are in the immediate, this week, maybe this month time frame. We want something that's in the 1 year or even possibly 3 to 5 year time frames. So we need to work in a time frame that is achievable for us, because if we're working in a different time frame, either the vague hopes, the distant dreams, or the instincts and appetites, those are not powerful. Okay, we're nearly through. So another important distinction I do want you to get is what result is this one between. It's a distinction about attachment to a result and what that result will bring or give us in our life. So we often have, an intention to create a particular result, and we think that result, or we attach having that result to another particular outcome, such as owning your home or saving for retirement. And then we go, so if I've got my business, and it's earning this money, then I'll be able to have the house. Yep, great. Okay. And then we attach another result or outcome to having the house. That might be expecting it to bring peace of mind, for instance, or happiness, or calmness. And what I want to suggest, or what I want to ask is, what if you could have that other outcome, happiness, peace of mind, or calmness, right now? What would that be like? What if you were to choose right now, in this present moment, to have your business and be learning to make it successful and profitable, going where you want it to go, and you were going to choose this other quality at the same time? Whether it's happiness or whether it's peace of mind or whatever quality it is, you were going to choose to have that quality in your life right now. What if I were to tell you that learning what to do next never stops in business? Business is not a set and forget exercise. It will always be a process of adapt, change, modify, innovate, because nothing in this universe stays the same. Everything is constantly changing and evolving. So we may as well accept that and relax. Yep, we may as well just know that it's always going to be learning, changing, modifying. But you can choose to do that, and you can choose to do it with a quality such as joy, such as fun, yeah, such as peace of mind, or whatever those other qualities are. If you accept that you can do that, you can have both, it will change your life. And what if attaching peace of mind to what you want, such as the house or saving for retirement or whatever else, means that it can actually never arrive. It can never manifest in reality. I'd like you to consider for a moment that you have two lives that run concurrently with each other. You have an inner life and you have an outer life. What we sometimes do, sorry, I just need a wee sip of water. That's better. What we sometimes do is confuse these two and mix them up and make our inner life dependent on factors in our outer life. So being happy, instead of being a choice we make to just be happy, we make happy being dependent on achieving certain things in our outer life. This creates a dependency, and all dependencies are really, really unhealthy. It also means we become very attached to this certain outcome, which energetically sends a message of wanting out into the universe. The energy of wanting is very different energy to the energy of having. So want what you want and then take action to get it. And at the same time, choose to have the quality of what I call beingness right now. Choose to be happy or peaceful or calm. I know it's not easy, but getting this distinction will change your life. It was what Nelson Mandela did, and it was what, to have all those years in prison and to come out the man he came out. They didn't take away his inner being, his inner qualities. And Viktor Frankl was the same, in Nazi prisoner of war camp. For all those years, suffering as he did, he never, ever gave up those inner qualities. That's what kept him going. It's what kept him alive. And you can have that too. It's a choice you make. A choice you have to make repeatedly and daily. But I encourage you to make it. So if you want a successful business, you must first become the person who has a successful business. You must behave like that person. Now, if you look around at successful business people, I don't believe you will be able to name very many successful business people who attach being happy to having a successful outcome. They choose to be happy, or they choose to be innovative, or whatever other quality it is, and have a business and build it. And our English language is great, it's really, the words give it away every time. The word is be, have, behave, not have, be. Yeah. Our thoughts create our feelings, and from our feelings we take action and we get the results we get. We can change our thoughts. That's where the change happens. We can behave in our thinking like a successful business person. Excellent. Okay, so we're really nearly at the end, and it's gone on just a few minutes longer than I thought, but I want to leave you with this quote from Marianne Williamson. It's the one often attributed to Nelson Mandela, but he actually got it from Marianne Williamson. And the quote is, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We are all born to manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Now, I'm not going to, I'm not religious, and this is not a religious course, I just want to say that, but that is a very, very powerful quote. So we are at the end of this webinar. I will just check and see if anybody has got a question or a hand up. At this point in time, my voice is cracking up. I'm going to leave you with this thought, and it is that we can create our business and our life just like an artist creates a stunning artwork, one chip at a time. And the image on the screen you have now is one of my ex-husband's works. It's over 4 meters tall, a magnificent sculpture carved out of this massive macrocarpa trunk. And when he started that, he knew what he wanted to create. Yeah, the artist always knows what end result they want, and they start with what they have. So I hope you found some learnings in today's webinar that you didn't have before. I'd love to hear about them, and I do want to know if there is anything that you want me to clarify or talk through in the Q&A on Tuesday. I know that's a difficult time for some people, but if I will record those Q&As and I will answer your questions as clearly as possible. So thank you for your time this morning. Thank you for being on the program. I look forward to going through the program with you and to supporting you to success in your business and your life. Thanks, everybody. Your worksheet number 6 is the one to complete as a result of listening to today's webinar. I hope you get that done before we have our next webinar next Thursday. And as I said, all questions, fire them my way. I'm here to help. Thanks, everybody.